see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, from Brooklyn. Hey, guess any.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? Another episode of Coast to Coast. I am your host, Pags. I have my co-host, Bo.
How's it going,
That's
my man?
all. I got to introduce StatGuy. Hope he's feeling better. He had or somebody had emergency surgery, so hopefully everything went well with whoever wound up. It was a little cryptic. It was a little cryptic. Was the messages, and McLovn. We're not sure if he sent his resignation letter to the wrong address or something, but we hope that he will be back sooner than later. How are you, brother?
Doing good. It actually have a new show going to hit the network here next week, so that's going to be kind of fun. Going to team up with a Super Bowl winning coach, and we're going to do interviews every Wednesday.
A Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah.
The head coach?
No, he was a special teams coach for the Rams when they won.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
So it should be fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Awesome. Well, I would be remiss if I did not want to start, if we did not start it off this way. Unfortunately, we lost someone yesterday. I don't know if anybody was really looking for him, but he wound up lost yesterday. O.J. Simpson passes away at the age of 76 years old. And
talk about a weird life.
He's driving that Bronco now somewhere else. So I'm not sure if it's in the sky or underground, but either way, that he'll be infamous for the white Bronco and the glove that didn't fit.
That's right.
Those two things more than anything else is what you remember, is what I remember about.
I mean, talk about the highest highs and the lowest lows, right? Like he goes from being a, NFL leading, player to the, murder trials, and then to stealing his own memorabilia and going to jail. And then moving into, finishing up, fighting cancer, mostly being out of the limelight. But, talk about a roller coaster ride of a life.
Exactly. I mean, it's he's done a lot. He's been in a lot of spots, and one time was one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Was a budding actor, and he did some movies and stuff like that. A lot of comedy movies. I feel like anytime like not Airplane, but it was The Naked Gun.
Yeah,
I feel like he was in that Naked Gun series and stuff like that.
Yeah, he had a few cameos.
And ultimately, like I said, I will never forget watching on TV the slow pursuit chase.
Yes.
Because it's like, why aren't they stopping him? Like, why aren't they just trying to pull him over? Like, what's going on here?
Right? Like they pit maneuver people doing 100 miles an hour. I feel like it'd be easy to catch him at 50.
Right. So, anyways, he's passed on. Cancer finally got the best of him. And the memes of, the glove and everything else will come out in force today saying, I don't know if you say rest in peace. I don't know that anybody wants to allow him to rest in peace. He's got a lot of atoning to do, I would say.
Yeah, well, especially because who really knows how the whole murder trial went down. We saw the outcome, obviously. One of the most televised things, especially at the time. And but whether or not he really did it, it seemed like there was a lot of damning evidence ahead of that glove discovery. But
If the glove does not fit, you must acquit. And that's where it was.
yep,
That's ultimately what it came down to. It's so it didn't fit, and they quitted him.
they did. They did.
That was Johnny Cochran's biggest, you know,
Yep.
biggest case at that point, because he lost a couple after that.
Yep.
Yeah, he was only good at that one. So,
Yep.
made lots of money, made his bones. Same thing with the DAs getting together that time too. They made a lot of money out of that whole deal. Everybody involved made a lot of money. Just never.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, there was a ton of money that got sent around. Especially being such a high profile and the first real heavily televised case.
Yes. Yeah. Short of like Judge Wapner.
Yeah.
From the People's Court and stuff
Exactly.
like that. That was like the biggest high profile case. I mean, the only other case that I could think of that kind of matched that was what's his face and his wife. Recent.
Oh, recently? Gotcha. You're talking Johnny Depp.
That's him.
Yeah.
That's him and his wife.
Yeah. But I meant at the time, right? Because I mean.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's the biggest profile case that I remember watching. And like I haven't seen one really since then, till Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and that one only became that because of
she pooped the bed.
It 100%.
Because she literally and figuratively pooped the bed.
Exactly. And honestly, because I mean, soon as that happened, all of a sudden, okay, this thing really got some traction because people are like, "Wait, what?
Hold on,
that's a real thing."
she defecated on your bed.
You mean you're using literally correctly? Like, yeah, no, it pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I remember it being, all over TV. And of course, at the time, it's not like you had 1,000 channels to choose from like you do today. I mean, you had your basic cable stuff and your standard like 9 free channels, right? So I mean, it was and it was on all of them. Like it was really crazy how televised that thing was.
Yeah, and it's like I remember watching it at the bar because that's where I was. I was at the bar.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, how about that? Look at him. He's driving away, just driving. At 40 miles an hour on the highway.
right. Not even doing the speed limit on the highway.
Right, exactly. It was so ridiculous. Everybody's pulled over. You got 4 cops behind them, and you have it was like the white Bronco just leading the way.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was like somebody accidentally recorded it in slow mo.
And what did he have in his hands once they caught him? He went back to his house and he put something in his hands and.
Oh, that I don't remember.
Was it like his Heisman Trophy or something like that? It was something ridiculous. I remember it was something.
That is crazy.
Like he was like holding on to it for like dear life. Like he's like, oh, like it was just weird. And then who was the buddy driving the car? He wound up doing some reality TV for a little while. I don't remember. I want to say his name was like Hollywood or something, but it's like I don't think it was Hollywood. See, and the thing is that nobody remembers this either. Like nobody remembers that guy's name.
I mean, it's a couple years removed at this point.
He didn't amount to much of anything either. But he was friends with them all. I know that the guy's name was Goldman, right?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's the wife was hanging out with the Goldman, and the live-in buddy. He lived in the basement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I vaguely remember that now, but I don't remember the guy's name or anything. I mean, again, this was like 93, 94 or something like that. So I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it has.
The details are a little fuzzy at this point.
I'm gonna find out OJ's friend.
You know what? It'll probably pop just with that because nobody knows what his name was.
Cato.
All
I
right.
thought that was his name. OJ's friend. Yeah, I want to say it was like OJ's friend who drove. Let me say, who
Yeah,
drove.
I was gonna say it. Probably an important.
Friend who drove the Bronco. Let's go. Al Cowlings was the guy who rode the Bronco,
Hmm,
but that's not. I thought there was guy's name was Cato. Cato was the guy.
no idea.
So yeah, but Al Cowlings is was a friend of his. So he was the one that actually drove the car. I don't remember who Cato is. So all right, neither here nor there. Unimportant. How about the Phillies lost yesterday to what? Seattle win?
Yeah, they finally got a six run game.
So they won a game, and that still puts you a half a game behind us, right?
That
Yeah.
seems right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cato Kalin. Yeah, I thought it was a Cato Kalin. Yeah. He was the weirdo guy that wound up being, getting on, you know,
Oh, Goldman was Nicole Brown Simpson's friend. So that's
wound up
that.
getting killed.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was the other one who had his head cut off.
yeah. So yeah, a lot of details from that I just didn't remember because we're talking 30 years ago.
Right. Well, you were what, 17 then?
What 94? No, I'd have been like 13.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was 21, 93.
Yeah. Yep. 81. 81.
5 runs in the 10th. Oh, so they don't really count because you have the guy that starts on second, and I don't count any runs that count in in extra innings.
It was funny because I was I was looking at it, I was like, oh cool, we got a 6 run game finally. I was like, all right, so win 6-1. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is starting to look all right. And then yeah, I saw that we had 1 run in like the 3rd, and then the other 5 were in the 10th. I was just like, I mean, a win's a win. You'll take it, but it's not like you came out and put up 6 runs. Like
Right.
yeah, I don't know. Wow, 3 when it happened.
Yeah, gotcha. See, it's a long time ago. Wow, you were 3.
That's right. Let me get you some new tennis balls for your walker there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was 21 then. I'm like now I'm 51, so it was literally 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. 94.
So I mean, I will be 52 this year, so it's like I'm not until October. So either way, it makes sense. But so yeah, that happened, and he's now gone, and I'm sure that they will show his funeral very similar to the way they showed him driving in the
You think so?
Bronco.
You think so? You think it's going to get that kind of fanfare? I don't. I can't imagine it would, based on just the disaster that he had become, really from, that time moving forward, right? Because it's not like you really saw him do anything. Like, the only time he hit the news after that was stealing his own memorabilia from Vegas and stuff like that. It's not like he was out there being a humanitarian or anything. Like
No, he was
every time
not
you heard
the
about him, he was a problem.
humanitarian type. Definitely not the humanitarian type.
No.
But such is life. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't have it. But ultimately, it was, it was what it was. Like I said, the fact that he hadn't been in the news in a little while was, perfect for me because I didn't remember him.
Yeah, it's funny because I just kind of thought that maybe he was back in jail.
Nah, he had been out for a minute.
Yeah.
At least so I was told.
Yeah. No. Like, I knew that things got rectified after the memorabilia thing, but the because he hadn't been in the news for anything dumb, it just made me think that, he had an orange jumpsuit on again.
Well, he was old and battling cancer, so
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
at that point, you just put him in the home, and you're like, "Listen, buddy, this is your life from here on out. You're not going to get any crazier. You're not going to go."
That's right. Nobody
Listen,
has time for crazy.
and on top of anything else, listen, what happens in the nursing homes stays in the nursing homes, because I tell you, they pass around more stuff than you can think about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the funnier things you hear about is the STD level of retirement homes.
Exactly. So I'm sure he lived a wonderful life at the very end. Yes, when I'm done. I'm
Yep.
done with this. When
Yep.
we
Nope,
we
we're
were,
moving on.
yeah, when we start talking about the amount of STDs in nursing homes, you know that we have killed this topic.
For real.
Because it doesn't get any more perfect than, hey, listen, this is how he acquired all of these situations and such like that. So,
Yep.
but else in the news is, hey, listen, we have lots of draft coverage happening. It's like 2 weeks away.
Yep.
2 weeks, and I want to say 8 hours. Two
Yep.
weeks and 8 hours away. So quite literally, we are coming down to the nitty gritty. And when you start seeing the 4.0 draft, hey, listen, I did 3 other ones. This fourth one really is what's going to happen.
Yeah. And that's why I always think mock drafts are dumb, right? Because, ultimately, I'll end up getting asked to be on a show where I have to make one, right? Happens every year. But I begrudgingly make them because soon as one change happens, right? Because you never really know what any of these GMs are thinking or who's really on their boards. So, as soon as you get past the first pick, and even then, sometimes that can throw the whole thing off. But, once you get past the first pick, one different pick in your entire, you can throw the whole sheet away.
Hold on. I need you to explain this more. In fact, you know what? Here you go. You get to come on. I'm gonna even let you come on.
What?
I'm gonna go ahead and post this.
I don't understand what you're
I don't
talking
understand it either.
about. Why wouldn't you be able to wear green?
Exactly. Especially since both teams, from what I understand, are going to be wearing green. Robert, because this seems like that it's going to be too long for you to try to explain in typed form, I'm going to let you come on.
Jump in. Absolutely.
Yeah, I could see them extending Devonta Smith. I think that's happening. So, but yeah, I didn't hear anything about not wearing green into.
Yeah, I mean that would be weird that they wouldn't let you wear green in, being as
And I mean, I thought I heard that it's going to be the Packers.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Come into play. Like I know that some people reported that 302 birds, but I didn't hear anything official there yet. There, Dalton. Yeah, so don't go crazy thinking that you got all the right answers. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like, oh, they're going to take the Packers because it's the color of the Brazilian flag.
Yeah, but aren't you the home team?
We are the home team, but we're green too.
Yeah, no, exactly. So they'd have to do you can't both be wearing green.
No, one would wear yellow.
Exactly.
Which would be the other color of the Brazilian flag.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, you would think that that's what the Pack would have to wear because you guys are the home team. I imagine you're wearing the greens.
Yeah, the white with the yellow with the green lettering.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So, but Robert, are you coming on?
It's just a flyby.
Maybe he's not. He's like, oh, hey, what's going to happen? What if CAT really spelled dog?
And I'm out.
So yeah, if I wasn't able to wear green into Brazil, I would have to
Oh,
figure out something else.
he sent me a clip.
He sent a quote.
Uh, yeah. So
Hold on. He says, "Hold on." I tell you, this
it's
is
so
this
this
is
is from.
riveting for everybody watching. By the way,
So I mean, okay, maybe this has some legs to it. Reported by Guardian Sport and Associated Press. Packers and Eagles to play NFL season opener at Brazil. Uh, yep, club with ban on green. That seems really odd.
who wrote this?
Reported on by Guardian and Associated Press. Now the
Oh
AP
yeah,
part of it,
that's
AP part of it makes it interesting. Guardian, I don't put a lot of faith in, but Associated Press usually doesn't put out dumb stuff.
yeah. I see the Guardian. The NFL added another green team to the Eagles game. Where the locals hate the color green?
Yeah,
Green Bay Packers. I see the Green Bay Packers to face the Philadelphia Eagles in first game in Brazil.
yep,
So that came from the Packers site.
yeah. So I mean, it does look like that's the matchup. Very interesting. That would be bizarre to me. I feel like fans can differentiate between the teams that are wearing green.
Well, yeah, I mean, one will be green, one will be white, but
Well, and you're also playing a different sport. So I feel like you'd probably be all right.
here it is. It's in Crossing Broad. Let's pull up this so I can kind of see it. Eagles in Brazil. Turns out the locals absolutely hate the color green. They were founded in 1910, popular club in South America. Turns out, however, that their fans hate the color green. They absolutely despise it because it's the hue of their biggest rival, a
Yeah.
club called Palmeiras. How about that? So ultimately, that means because the Eagles are the home team, they'll wear white,
Yep.
and the Packers will wear green.
Maybe they
All
wear
right.
their
I
third
see a shiny head.
Yeah,
Let's see
there
what
it
he's
is.
got to say.
Hey, so what it is that the color green is the rival. It's the soccer team. It's like their biggest rival. That's their color is green, and so they do not allow like people to wear green in the stadium because it's the color of their rival.
Yeah, I mean, good looking.
People have been fined for wearing like green boots. I was reading the article. If you read through the article, one guy he got fined for wearing green boots.
That seems extra crazy. But
So
NFL to put two green teams in this game in a stadium where they hate green.
yeah, that's what the whole article is about. It's the concept is they most likely will be wearing green, but if you're a fan, I'm just letting you know. Like, I was laughing at that one because I was like, oh, you might have the locals, maybe not the team, but the locals angry that you're wearing green in that stadium.
I feel like
So be careful.
I feel like it'll be easy for them to figure out that it's a different sport that's happening.
I would think so, especially since everybody is going to be wearing green.
Yeah.
Literally
For both
everybody.
I know, but it's just funny that they chose that, and it's actually like the color of their biggest rivals. I think even the mayor or something of the town was like, "And what color will everybody be wearing?" Like making a joke about it because it's well known you don't wear green there.
See, that's where they need to have like the special edition salute to service jerseys. Be like, you know what? Everybody's wearing gray today.
I mean, I could wear the old school colors of the blue and yellow, which looked like ass when the Eagles wore those jerseys, but
They can't use the salute to service from last year though, because those brown things looked like they were just wearing potato sacks. Like they were horrendously bad.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but both the Packers and the Eagles had that same color, so it would be really hard to tell which team is which.
Yes.
You look at the little patch on there. They're like, oh, I missed that little patch, and that was green, just like my Eagles logo.
I mean, to be fair, if they were both wearing green, then when Love throws 3 picks, people won't be that mad. They'll be like, he
Exactly. You just couldn't tell the difference in the colors.
But
And will the tush push be called the El Tusho Pusho?
I mean, do they run it as effectively? Kelsey retires. You have a running back. Do you start running that a handoff a little bit more than putting your quarterback in harm's way?
I don't know that he's ever been in harm's way during the tush push, but
I mean, there's always the opportunity.
There's only been 3 times all season long that it failed. One happened to be in the playoffs when I think everybody had quit. But
yeah, there wasn't a lot of drive on that push.
Right. Yeah, that was just the one time where you could just tell they didn't have it. But I think Washington stopped it once, and then we did it again on 4th down and hit it. And really we should have made it. And then there was the one fumble. But so
I mean, that's going to happen.
So Robert, tell me all about your Seattle Mariners, how great they're doing, and how they scored all those runs.
They got 5 in the 10th. They got 5 in the 10th. We're stepping it up. We're turning the corner. This is normal. Bad Aprils are normal.
Yeah, it's kind of like the top of your hair.
Oh, it's all gone. Well, yeah. Well, I will say this. I was not expecting Castillo to come out the gate like he has, like at all. I mean, three straight bombs is horrible. Nobody was expecting Kirby to come out. It's the pitching that everybody expected the batting to come out to do what they're doing, but nobody expected pitching to come out and do what they're doing, and that's the problem.
How about J-Rod starting out with 186 batting average?
Not great. It's not great.
Not great, but I think that's part of his, like, he just puts pressure on himself, I think.
Is it well, he's right, because they are going to go as far as he takes them. He's got to be, I mean, as young as he is, he's got to be the leader in that clubhouse.
I mean, if you are going to have a slump of the season, I'd rather you start with it, right? Because in theory, you can kind of, get back to life as usual as you get towards the end of the season, instead of coming out firing and then falling off at the end. Like, if you got to pick a time to cool off, I'd rather start cold and get hot than the other way around.
Yeah, I think, he'll pick it up because it's just the way he is. But yeah, I think he's too hard on himself, and he's just not stepping up his game. I don't know if he made any adjustments. That's the thing too, is I don't know what adjustments he did off season, or if he did anything, because this isn't even like a sophomore slump kind of situation, right? This is technically his 3rd year now at this point. Right. So it's you're not even, no excuse there.
This is I don't like playing in cold weather.
Well, that's probably part of it. I think, here in Seattle, people don't really understand
over that stadium, don't you?
No, that's what people don't understand. This stadium in like April, May, beginning of May, the air, because we're, where we are at the sea level, the air's heavy. The balls don't travel like they're supposed to. And when you're out there swinging for power and you're swinging for the fences, you're going to hit home runs like you normally do. You will hit home runs because, yes, people can hit home runs. It's not going to be a homerless situation, but you're not going to be hitting home runs at the same amount as you will be during the summer months here, because the air is still so heavy, and this is a pitcher's ballpark. So we're not designed to put the ball out of the stadium. And the problem is that these guys don't want to play small ball. They don't know how to just singles and doubles. That's all we need. Just, round the bases, play that small ball, drop it into play. Don't be swinging for the fences. Don't be trying to pull it all the way out in the left. Come on. Small ball, nobody's stealing. That's the one thing I don't understand either.
About baseball today is nobody plays that way anymore. Now it's home run or nothing.
That's not true. That's not true. So the Diamondbacks got to the World Series by playing small ball last year.
Okay.
That's how they did that. And that's a real statement.
Yeah.
The problem is that you have to have a mindset when you go up to the plate. And if the mindset of your number one guy is to hit a home run and he's batting 186,
Yeah.
then it tells you, okay, you just got to start making contact with the ball. You got to
Yeah.
start hitting the ball hard, because ultimately how you get out of this funk is you hit the ball hard, but you're hitting it right at somebody, because that's what happens. You go
Yeah.
through that whole trend where it's like, yeah, he's putting the ball, the screws to the balls, but that ball is going right to the shortstop, right to the outfielder. It's line driving to the outfielder. I mean, those are the things that like occur that make that like happen like that. So I fully expect. Oh, by the way, the Phillies did win last night. Yes,
Did they?
yes, they did. Yeah. So we have a better record than you guys.
Yeah, no, by one game. I left. Well, you don't have that loss yet, so we'll see. But yeah, I think you're at what, 6 wins and we're at 5.
Yep, and we play the hottest team in Major League Baseball right
Yeah,
now.
paying the Pirates. If you can't
The
win, no,
It's
right?
the
You
poop
got Pirates.
series. It's the poop series where they have the
Pirates.
P, the zero, and the other P. So it's the poop series. That's how we go with this. So
That's great. No, that's great. But I think our Mariners will pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, toss that up there. This is the life of a Mariners fan right here.
Yes. Yes.
Still early, lots of season left. Random luck-based winning streak puts them close to playoffs position. If we had won a few more games in the early season, you missed the playoffs. Yay!
Well, here's the thing too, right? They're not taking, because like when Oakland does well, I know we all say Oakland sucks and everybody says that, but when Oakland does have their winning streaks and they do win and they do play, if you ever watch, especially when it's that 20-game winning streak, that's all small ball. That's all Oakland does is they walk and they hit singles and doubles. Like that's why we should be taking that playbook, that play page out of the book right now and using that. But also what I've noticed is we're not stealing.
Well,
you guys were talking
stealing
about
because
bigger
your
bags
guys-
in the new rule, right? Your bigger bags in the new rule, and nobody's really stealing.
But that's because your bigger bats that have the speed aren't getting on base. When your top 3 guys have a combined average of about 190, you're having a problem. That means the guys that are supposed to be getting on
That's
base and
true.
stealing the bags aren't getting on base. So that means you have to be a lot more patient at the plate. That means you got to start to be okay to work the count 0-2 because the guy's throwing it over the plate rather than swinging at balls and not having good contact and getting out on those. Like you need to watch pitches go by. You need to start moving the pitchers to having like a strikeout or like 1, 2, 3 strikeout where the bat is on your shoulder isn't the worst thing in the world. As funny as that sounds, you know what I mean? Because you went up there with a plan at least. Listen, I'm going to work this count a little bit. He's going to be forced to throw at least 3 pitches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you want him to throw as many as 8 or 9 or 10, like per at bat.
Yeah.
Knowing that, hey, listen, even in the worst case scenario, 6 is good.
And I think part of Mariner problems is a lot of the guys, they don't swing at first pitches. They're always taking first pitch strikes. It seems like every time first pitch is always a strike, so they're already starting off behind.
Yeah, but that goes back to the plan.
Bad strikes is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, these are straight down the middle cupcakes.
Yeah, they're just sitting there taking the ball. Okay, it's going to be a ball and it's a strike. And they're not even swinging. It's a non-swinging strike, and that's horrible. Like, take a swing at least if you're going to do that.
That's not true. That is something that you've seen on film. That's it's a management style. The manager is straight out letting him know, like, hey, listen, because if you have all of a sudden a guy starts swinging in that first pitch, and even if he doesn't even have to hit the ball, just making contact for it to go foul would be enough to stop that. But if you are getting that first pitch strike consistently, that tells me that's a management style. The manager's saying, hey, listen, red light, first pitch. You got to absolutely positively love it, but red light first pitch. So if you're red lighting the first pitch, which makes sense to me, if you have a team that's having problems hitting the ball, that makes a little bit of sense to me. But you also got to make sure they listen. J-Rod, you like that first pitch, turn on it.
Exactly.
I want you to turn on it.
I agree.
That rules for everybody else except you. You know what I mean?
Well, I agree too, because the thing is if you see it, I see it, then the opposing team knows they're going to take the first pitch anyway. So they're just going to throw a strike no matter, you know what I mean? They'll throw that strike because they know we're red lighting, because it's so obvious. It's become so obvious. And that's the problem, is like, we're not taking that, like, hey, you think we're going to, you go out there and all of a sudden take a swing and be like, whoa, these guys are not doing that. It's become, we're very readable, right? You know what's coming up. And I'm also wondering too, is, not with Raleigh, but what is it, Verano or whatever our backup catcher is. I don't know how well he's calling games when he's been in the plate. Like, I was at that Kirby game where Kirby just got blown out. I went to that day game and I was watching him, and I'm just like, I don't think you know how to call games. Like, you may have good, I don't know if that's considered defense, but you can't call a game, because Kirby was just looking like shit, to be honest. Yeah. And I think that's a problem too, is you only have Cal, and I think Cal's the only one who knows how to do it, and you can't have him in there 24. And we're not using Garver. That's what I didn't understand. I'm like, well, why can't I understand Garver's got a little bit of problem, but he can be up behind the plate once a week or something. I'm sure, right? He could do a little something more. We don't need some third string backup catcher coming in here and not knowing how, because he can't hit. So if he can't hit and he can't call a game, you're just a body in the field, and I don't want you. And I think that's part of our problem too. And I've always thought our development we can develop pitching, but we can't develop batting. And I think that's the problem with the Mariners. It's like, I understand you don't want to spend money, but at least then don't spend money on your pitching, because you know how to develop that. But you have to spend money on bats, because you can't develop bats here no matter what. I mean, every bat that's left. Look at Kelnick. He's gone.
Well,
looks great, right? Tesla gone. Looks great.
It's not entirely true they can't develop them. It's just, soon as they have started to develop them and they're going to be worth money, they get rid of them.
Yeah.
So it's not that they can't cultivate the talent. They just can't keep it once they do.
True. That's true.
And Robert, I was also told that you would be the perfect person to ask, how do you feel about the fact that the OKC Thunder could actually be the #1 seed in the NBA?
I boycott the NBA. They stole my Sonics. Durant was a Sonic. We drafted Durant, and then they stole my team, and they stole Durant. They stole all those championships. They stole all of that greatness that was coming our way right out from under us. That was a sneaky sale. That was played out to let OKC go. The whole stadium thing. No, we weren't going to renovate the stadium for the Sonics at the time, because you're not. We just renovated it a few years ago, and you're not. You need to like put something on the court, and that was all planned and arranged. And once Schultz sold the team, everybody knew it was going. Like, we knew it was going, and it was the saddest thing ever. And yeah, I won't watch NBA now. Just because when we had the chance, then what was it, the King? Were we supposed to get the Kings? Yeah. When we were supposed to get that, and then MLB came and said, no, we're not going to give the expand. We're not going to let the Sonics do that. You can have Seattle can maybe get to the next expansion team. I haven't seen that. At least we got our hockey. I mean, we were going to build a new stadium if we were going to get the Kings. Like, we had turned around to do that. So I think the NBA doesn't like Seattle anyway. They don't like our market. We're way up here in the Northwest. So it's like, we always have to overpay to get players to come here because of our location. It's just, the media always hates on Seattle teams, no matter how, even if they're good, they still hate on them. Even that our Russell Wilson, which he didn't win the Super Bowl, the Legion Boom won that, in my opinion. But even that team going into that Super Bowl, everybody was just like, oh, Hawks defense is great, but they're going to get wiped. They're going to get wiped by Denver, right? We didn't come in. Nobody came in thinking, right? Deion Sanders, oh, they have average receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, our average receivers, right?
I'm so touched touched by your love for Seattle and how
So
Seattle is the
We're like the redheaded stepchildren of sports.
it was funny going into that Super Bowl for sure, because all of the media going into that absolutely were, defense wins championships unless it's Peyton Manning and this record offense. And
yeah, nobody gave us the shot in hell to win that Super Bowl. Everybody thought we were going to get worked. I mean, Deion Sanders sitting there, like I said, oh, how do you feel about having two average receivers? Yeah, well, our two average receivers, burn the shit out of your Denver Broncos, right? So come on. Like, come on, Deion, him and his big mouth, that or like, my favorite though is always still going to be beast mode, where it's all about the action, boss.
I am loving the comment section today.
Hey, I've been I was not at the game, but I was in Detroit for a Super Bowl exit. All right. Poof. Disappeared. He's gone.
Oh.
Wasn't me. He played. He. I guess he got a text message that says, "Hey, listen, you have to Irish goodbye." Gone.
Right. Mike dropping him out.
There he is.
Wrong button.
What happened?
I hit the wrong button.
That'll happen.
Let's see ya.
No.
Filling in for Stat Guy.
But yeah, I was in. Yeah, it's exactly what I was talking about. I was in Detroit for Super Bowl 40. And I still have the Super Bowl XL hat, which I think like XL is like out of all the different Roman numerals that you could have.
Yeah.
Like there's two of them that really make sense to me. Triple X, like anything 30, because it's like you could definitely say that's X rated. You know what I mean? Bang.
Sure.
And XL, Super Bowl 40, because extra large. We have a lot of people buy extra large shirts, so It should be extra large. It wasn't extra large there.
It made total sense that they didn't do 50 though. They used actual numbers because nobody wants to go catch an L.
Right.
I like that.
It's like LIV, live. It's like, oh, okay. It's like the first person I think of is Liv Tyler. Like she should have sang the national anthem. But those are all different things that occur to make that all. But anyways, yeah, and you guys lost that Super Bowl too, right? That was
we got. You talking about the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh? Oh yeah, we got robbed on that one. That was all refs.
Well,
we were the better team on the field. We had the better numbers. There were some fake ass calls on that one that,
I mean, there were
we got robbed on that one.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The calls in that were very one-sided. So that is definitely true. In fact, the NFL even came out and made a statement.
Yeah, that was all geared to give the bus a championship on his way out the door.
But
that was my opinion.
You also can't discount the fact that Jeremy Stevens dropped 5 first downs. Like straight hit him in the hands and dropped him.
Yeah.
I mean, those are absolute drive killers because 4 of those were on third down. You can't do stuff like that. So, I mean, it's there were still ways that the Hawks could have won, even with all the bad calls, because they came up short in some key moments of that game, because it's not like they got blown out by the Steelers. Even with all the bad calls, they didn't get blown out. They were right there. So had they made some of those key catches, that game could have been wildly different.
That's true.
I agree.
I can give you that.
So, I mean, ultimately,
I still think the rest would have found some other way to screw us, but I'll give you the fact that Stevens, he should have been catching balls, especially for how good he was at the time.
Did he come back the next year?
I think he did.
What's that?
Jeremy Stevens. Did he come back after the Super Bowl? He wasn't a free agent then, and I don't think we cut him. I think he came back, right?
No, he did come back. He did come back.
Yeah.
I mean, because ultimately, when you lose a Super Bowl, you start playing the blame game. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether it was close or whether it was, you lost by $1 million. You know what I mean? It's like when you lose by $1 million, it's an easy enough. It's like, oh, this all went bad. when you lose by a little bit, you blame it more on one specific play or five specific plays.
Yeah.
Five missed first downs makes me wonder, did he have the Steelers in that game?
Who was gambling? I don't know.
And when it comes to Jeremy Stevens, that's entirely possible.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it being more nerves. The thing is I'm sad only because for that team, I preferred that team mainly than I preferred having a Russ-led team. I preferred the days of Hasselback. I really enjoyed him as our QB, and I thought he was a better QB. And I honestly thought that Super Bowl team that played against Pittsburgh was better than the Super Bowl team that played against Denver. I mean, our defense was great, but I think that the Super Bowl team that came in against Pittsburgh they were flying on all cylinders, and that was a really well-led team.
So
and
was Hasselbeck
we should have won that.
Was Hasselbeck your favorite quarterback because you guys share hairstyles?
Yes. Yeah, we polish each other's head every once in a while. We get together, shine it up. We try to put them, cone head. We do the cone head thing, soft rings.
Interestingly enough, the funny story I happen to have about a Hasselbeck is Tim Hasselbeck is the jersey, the number 11 jersey that I wear was Tim Hasselbeck's jersey, and he got cut by the Eagles. He wound up being the starting quarterback for the Washington Redskins at the time, but the Eagles, because they cut him, they said, hey, the jersey that you won is going to be either number 47 or 11. And I think there was another one that was like, interestingly enough, probably like 62 or something like that. But I didn't, there wasn't a Kelsey at the time, and I wasn't into middle numbers. My number was 19. I wanted to get number 19, but 19 made the cut. So I didn't have the opportunity to get number 19. So ultimately, I wound up choosing number 11, which was Tim Hasselbeck's jersey. So the jersey that you see me wearing when I go to football games, that number 11 jersey was actually Tim Hasselbeck's jersey.
Wow.
And the pants that I wear are Jason Kelsey's pants. He actually wore both the jersey and the pants were game worn.
Other dudes' pants.
Hey, I spent a lot of money to get into his pants. I spent a lot of money to get into his pants. I told him that same joke too. So
he didn't wash them.
He's like, I will wash these pants forever.
That's right. Just I say with the funk.
Listen. After a football game, after me wearing for a football game, I want to wash them myself. Trust me.
just don't go bragging about wearing his cup.
I ain't spending any amount of money for that. I definitely go cup less. So
priceless.
But anyways, that was my Hasselbeck story. He's at least got a nice looking wife. Does he do anything with Seattle anymore, or is he just shows up when they do Ring of Honor stuff?
Yeah, pretty much just that.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, or if their production team comes in for a game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was at last year's Ring of Honor for Alexander, and I don't think he was actually there for that one.
Oh, okay.
Because I was at that game, and I remember I have footage of it because I filmed his speech, Alexander's speech, and he didn't. But he brought like his wife and like 30 kids. He's got so many kids, that dude. It's kind of funny.
Well, I mean that's part of what they do, right? I mean he's part of the same cult that Rivers is part of. Setting up franchises. Let's set up franchises all over. It's all over.
When you have enough kids that your volleyball team can play your other volleyball team, like that's probably too much.
Yeah.
Hey, God bless them. You know what I mean? Who are we to tell anybody how to live their life? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have
good
two
on
amazing children,
I don't have any,
and
so.
I don't. Yeah, like I said, it's neither one of them are even sports fans. Like it's. The apple fell very far from my tree.
Well, no, that makes sense. They see you all painted up. They're like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Well, and that's exactly it. They're like not sports fans at all. And obviously, I'm a Libra. So, and if, you know, Libras are just passionate in general. It's like some of our passion gets looked at as anger. I don't know how many times, growing up, my mother says, "Will you stop yelling?" I'm like, "I'm not yelling. I'm just talking." It says, it's just but that's how I talk. I talk very loudly.
You're an
So
East Coaster and you're Italian. You're expected to talk loud and with your hands.
I do a lot with my hands. I do talk a lot with my hands. I don't do a lot with my hands. It's it depends on who you're asking. I guess I could say I do a lot with my hands either way. It's just
So to answer your earlier question there, Jeremy Stevens didn't get all the hate that he did because of the calls that came in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that gave it traction was the NFL came out and made a statement about it.
Yeah.
That's what ultimately really took the headlines. So the shortcomings of the players on the field really took a back seat because the NFL actually took ownership of how badly
they called that game.
Now, again, I don't think it's entirely why they lost the game, but did it lead to it? Sure. But, the play on the field could have overcame those calls. The game was close enough for that. But because they came out and made a statement, that created so many more headlines than Jeremy Stevens dropping footballs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because there was I think the biggest call. There were a couple calls on that one, but the biggest one was that, what was it? The ghost, like the fake. I don't know if it was ghost roughing the passer or
it was something
roughing the kicker or something. It was like a ghost play where like nobody ever touched him, and they called the penalty, and it was like,
that was one where it looked like the refs had money on the game.
Yeah.
Which, cool. If you'd let me know, I'd have jumped in. Right.
I think it was. Was it Hockley? I just remember. Isn't it the ref, the Popeye ref? The dude has got like the Popeye arms. I think he was like the head
Hockley.
ref.
Yeah,
that's Hockley, right? I think he was the one who refed that game.
Oh, that can't be right. He's usually
really good. He was really good.
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of people were like, what's going on here? Because I think it was him. I think it was Popeye arms. I always call him Popeye arms.
Look up. That doesn't seem right.
That's what I thought. I thought it was him. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's why I think I was surprised as well.
There we go. Super Bowl 40. Bill Levy.
Oh, yeah, Bill Levy. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's
no
another.
That was Ed.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ed had problems towards the end as well.
Sure.
I know that he had a problem in a ref in a Super Bowl, but Bill Levy.
Yeah.
Historically, though, Ed Hockley was probably one of the better refs of the game.
Yes, him and the other guy who now, and here's what I could tell you: he's like this muscle dude, and he's black, and like when he does it, it's like, it's like everything is with weights in his hands.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But he's a great ref. He is a great ref.
Hey, when it's a first down, it's like, boom.
First down. But it's like he goes, hey, holding on the defense. You know what I mean? Like defense. That guy's pretty good as well. It's funny, we talk about referees and umpires now so badly most of the time.
Yeah.
That it's rare when you get to start talking about them in a good way.
Well, I always loved Hockley anyway, right? Because first, that dude was a monster, right? Like he would cut the sleeves off of his thing just to pop them arms out. And it was hilarious because he'd be outrunning the players to make the calls, right? Like he'd be just trucking down the field. And you're just like, all right, man, like throw a helmet on. Like, let's do this.
Exactly.
I don't care if you're 70. Let's go.
Yeah, the same thing with. I mean, his son is pretty good as well. His son is out there a referee now.
Yep.
I think an arm wrestling match between you Pags and Hockley.
I think Ed would still take us all down.
I mean, he might, but I tell you, if he hasn't arm wrestled before, then I'd probably have him.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, I mean, I have an arm wrestling table. Hold on, we can't even see it here. Hold on, I'll show you. It's got a bunch of stuff on it right there, but there's the arm wrestling table there.
Okay.
Right there, right above my finger.
You go
Yep.
over the top style and throw spiders in there.
Well, I tried to be a professional arm wrestler for a little while.
Yeah.
And listen, I did not lose every match, but I didn't win many.
Sure. Hey, that just means the wins were better.
Well,
Right.
not only that, so there is weight limits. There's weight limits that go with everything. And being a thick guy, like I'm not big, but like when you push on me, there's no squish.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So like it's all like just mass. So I weigh like 235, 240 pounds. While you put me up against other 240 pounders who have been working out and doing those things, I already am at a disadvantage. So I have two things going for me pretty well. I have a lot of technique strength and I have monster hands. So even if I was to lose my wrist, I have enough strength in my arm.
You go over the top to crush the thumb.
Well, I mean, sometimes you could do all that, but it doesn't work as easily as you think it does.
I will ask you, have you ever seen like what's the worst injury have you seen? Have you ever actually seen like they do in the movies where somebody like their arm out and they snap a bone?
Spiral fracture. Yes. It's not seeing it, it's hearing it.
Sure.
That does it. It's not the sight of it. It's when you hear that happen, everybody cringes. And it's a similar cringe to when you watch a man get hit in the balls accidentally. Not when you see somebody kick him, but when you watch a baseball and you see it, he goes to catch it and it skins off his thing and bangs into his sack. That's a whole, you're like, ooh, that hurts. That hurts.
Mitch Henniger knows that deal.
So, hey, listen, we're going to go ahead. We're at the top of the hour, so let's take a break. You know what? The captain came in, El Capitan Rafuccio. I'll just let him know that he's here. Once we come back from the break, we'll talk to the captain for a minute. See what happens when all of a sudden we got people coming in when we put the thing out there. All of a sudden we have some people showing up on our show. So give us just a few moments and we'll be back right after these commercial messages.
All right.
I mean, you can see right now without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, guess any.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you. Your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Sometimes, all you need to change your life is a sign. A sign that says, "Hank, this is the place you've been looking for." And sometimes that sign is an actual sign that's mounted to a building. 1 second, I'm looking at a sign. I know what you're thinking, and no, I don't love B-dubs just because I'm a buffalo with wings. Frankly, that's offensive and reductionist. Cause this place, come on. It's like they took beer and made it into a place and then gave that place sports and chicken wings. And the people?
Cuba.
The best.
Oh! What the is going on, Marty? This isn't a game. This is trivia.
Yeah, this place is kind of like heaven. You know, without needing to get hit by a bus. Let's go, sports bar!
Supporting the needs of our veterans. That's the goal of all of us at Team AmVets. Like Mitch, Carlos, and Kevin from our Welcome Home team that brings furniture to our vets.
We are Team AmVets.
Or Linda from our thrift stores who brings you great bargains every day.
I am Team AmVets.
And John, who picks up your thrift store donations that support California veterans programs.
I am Team AmVets.
Visit our website or a Team AmVets thrift store to donate or shop today.
Join the team!
When you drive to Wendy's and order a single, you get more beef than the Whopper or the Big Mac. At Wendy's, you never have to ask, where's the beef?
I love that. Where's the beef? That was. I'm gonna laugh because that commercial reminded me of the first dirty joke I ever heard. It was where's the beef between Wendy's buns.
Oh man,
That's the first dirty joke I ever heard as a kid from that commercial.
There you go. It's,
So I gotta laugh every time I see that commercial.
That's now a dad joke to the nth degree.
no doubt.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
dad. So let's welcome to the program El Capitan Refucho. He does a podcast himself. Likes to every once in a while stop on. I guess he saw that we put our stuff out there, and he decided to jump on since he had nothing to do today. How are you, Captain?
I'm very good right now because even though that I'm still recovering from all these allergies, even though that I'm living in the East Coast, I'm getting like a recovery right now because my voice is not very breakdown, but I just figured out that this is like the first time that I just wanted to to join out because you guys have brought some action, some great takes, some great news about for the sports, and I was thinking, wow, this is like a very interesting show because you guys already know about for football, baseball, basketball, all kind of sports from coast to coast, and I just like, man, I would love to see like this one. And speaking about for like Thursday, which is like very interesting, I think that the Philadelphia Phillies, which is like the team for baseball, I think they need to struggling for the offense and the defense. But I know the pitching style is very mature, very significant. But also they just need to have to report because right now they're in the second place at the National East. So they need to figure it out how it comes to the pitching style, the batting style. I mean, there need to be like quick some action right now.
Well, I think that right now it's still early. I'm not really concerned about what the Phillies are doing. Ultimately,
we're only in the second little element of my Mariners wheel that we had up.
Yeah, so it's
season left.
Yeah, it's we are at 1/16 of the season. Is done, which is such a small take. There's games. I expect that sometime during this season that we'll have at least a 10-game winning streak. I also suspect that we could have as much as a 10-game losing streak. And even after all of that, we'll still wind up in second in the division.
Wow.
You're only one game, or are you half a game behind right now, Atlanta? Because I think Atlanta's only got one more win than you, but they've played a full schedule, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that they actually have. I think they're a game and a half ahead of us, to be honest. I don't know. Give me a second. I'll pull that up right as we speak. The National League is actually, they are 7-3, which puts them 2 games ahead of us.
Okay.
Yeah, we're 6-6. Pirates are 9-3. The Dodgers are 10-5. And in the American League, we have the Yankees at 10-3, the Guardians at 9-3, and the Rangers at 7-5, which only puts you guys 2.5 games out of first place and a full game ahead of the Houston Astros.
I know. That's why I'm wishing when Jay was around, because at least I have somebody to rag on. I can't do the Phillies right now.
As it sits right now, they're behind the A's, which
yes.
That was one thing that man, I was not excited about yesterday as we entered the day behind the A's. And I'm like, come on. Like, it's one thing to, not be leading your division. But if you're behind the A's, I mean, man, all of a sudden you're not feeling great about your team.
Right. I agree. So it's,
that's the floor. The A's are the floor.
Well,
below.
actually, the
That's
White
like the
Sox.
Mendoza line. If you hit the A's, you're at the Mendoza line below.
That's kind of the thing, right? Because there are other teams that have worse records than the A's, but the A's are so consistently bad. If you're behind the A's, you're just like, yeah, okay, cool. Let me drink a lot because this season's over.
So let me ask this question because maybe so Mendoza, I remember not a whole bunch, like maybe 10 years ago, that I thought that Mendoza was a career 220 hitter. And it was 220 that was the line. Now, that was another thing that changed during this whole Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's 200.
Yep.
But it used to be 220. Do you guys remember it being 220 or do you guys remember it always being 200?
No, 220 makes sense because
yeah.
There was an era where small ball that's what people did. So batting averages were higher. Like if you look at averages across the sport, they're down because everybody's trying to hit the parking lot instead of on base percentage.
Yeah, 3-run home runs is now how a lineup is figured out. And that's I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that, but that's just the way it is anymore. It's like, all right, you got one guy who gets on in the Phillies spot. It's home run, home run, home run, home run, home run, home run, small ball, small ball, small ball.
Yeah.
I think it's just like because right now it seems like home run, home run, home run, home run, small ball. I mean, it came like a very repetitive because I know that the feeling because I was watching baseball since I was a little kid, and I know the process about for the pitching style and the batting style. So you had to be quicker. So you had to be like faster, smaller, but also you had to be prepared to see like what's gonna happen because right now it's good at the pitching like it was like a slider and everything. I mean. That shouldn't be happening because we had to expect the unexpected.
Right. Well, and that's part of what's going on. I think that it's so funny that.
What's your home run, home run, home run? Is it home run or nothing? Home run or nothing? Home run or nothing? Home run or nothing?
A lot of them,
ball, right?
I mean, that's like the Yankees has been for quite a while too. Is it's either leaving the park or they're losing the game.
Well, you think about this. I mean, right now our best hitter right now is Brad Marsh. And he's got 36 plate appearances. He's batting .333. He's also tied for the most home runs on our team with 3 home runs.
Yeah.
But he's also got 5 runs scored, 7 RBIs. He's got 14 strikeouts, so he's third in strikeouts, but he's got the best on base percentage and the best slugging percentage and stuff like that. Well, not on base percentage.
I'm interested to see if he's turned a corner because I had him on I do fantasy baseball just every year because I like to do that, and I had him on my fantasy team, and for the first half of the season last year, it felt like he was like a shoo-in in that position. He was really great. He was putting up numbers, and then it seems like he only lasted like a half a season, and then he kind of dwindles out. Like he's kind of more of a he's not a flat lot. He's not hitting consistent. He's not a consistent hitter. Like he goes through these like giant peaks and valleys.
I feel there's a piece of me that feels that there are 2 types of players in this league. There are or batters in this league. Let's go that way. You are either a power hitter or you're a small ball style hitter, slapping stuff.
Sure.
So I believe that it's he is he's a small ball style who's got a little bit of power.
JP Losman.
And he does go streaky. He does get cold in the middle of August. I think the heat gets to him. That the hair actually plays a part in that. So like really truth of the matter is I know he won't do it, but he should cut down the beard and the hair a little bit in the summer rather than sweat it out because I feel like that affects his game some. But he plays better in the cold weather because he's warmer. He's got more hair.
That's right.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it could be as simple as that. Because I feel like in the summertime, when it's so super hot, he doesn't play as well. But I think, like I said, the fact that he's 333, he's carrying the team a little bit right now. Quite literally. So the other guys are not hitting very well. Like last, when I check it here, it's like, here you go. Schwarber is 208, Turner 277, Harper's at 214, Bohm's at 238, Castellanos is at 163. I feel like he can't ever seem to swing at a strike.
Which is odd because Castellanos is actually really good. I feel like he should be, doesn't he normally average every year like 300? He's like a 298, 300 hitter, isn't he?
He's about 260.
About 25 home run.
260, 270 with 25. Or 20 at least. You know what I mean? So I think that this is it's a slow start for him, definitely. Lots of strikeouts in the midst. It's like 13 strikeouts and 6 base on balls. I mean, I'm not, interestingly enough, here Bohm leads the walks with 7. Schwarber was 6, Turner was 6, Castellanos was 6. Harper's only got 4. And Stott has 6. So this team likes to work walks. And of course, Turner stolen bases. He's got 4 stolen bases.
See, and I don't mind a team that will work for walks. I mean,
right out of Billy Bean's page.
Right? Like, right? I want good on base percentage. I don't care how you get on base. I just want you to get there.
Right. Yeah, but strikeouts are, oh my Lord.
I mean, it's very important because right now there is like a difference between a power or contact hitters which is for the signing haters. I mean, it's very much important to get on base and be like a spark plugger or a blast home runs and be like a slugger. I mean, the sign hitters are because they can feel like at a position and they usually like bigger guys or worse fielders. I mean, those bigger guys usually had more power, but they're traditionally like a power hitter and it's more valuable than contact hitting.
Well, let me ask you, since the Mariners, we know the Mariners aren't getting on base at this point. So, and your Phillies are getting on base at least. I'm interested with the stealing because we all talked about this earlier, about how the bag and all that. How is that affecting in Philly? Are you seeing more steals or have you seen any effect of this whole can't block the bag, bigger base kind of situation there in Philadelphia for your team?
I've seen that the Phillies have been very good at throwing people out from stealing. So that right now, Real Muto is still one of the best catchers in baseball because of his arm velocity. That's really what it comes down to. He could throw a 98-mile-per-hour fastball to second base, and that's what gets him out. The fact that he can throw it and put it right there in the front of the bag where all the guys got to do is catch it, and he's always got to do is straddle the bag is perfect. You could tell that they worked on that a lot. I have not seen this whole anybody as I haven't seen somebody been awarded the base because somebody blocked it other than in in spring training.
Yeah.
So
I think I think your inability to continually check a runner at first is what's helping your stealing more than anything else, right? Because I mean, when you used to be able to check a runner 10 times, you're at some point they're just like, you know what, I'm not going to run. Just let's
go to ball,
right? So I like that they did put a limit on that because we're seeing more stolen bases on that front. But some of the rules they've added doesn't make sense. Like, the blocking the bag. It's like, I mean, what do you expect a guy to do if the throw from the catcher isn't perfect?
I mean, right? It's based on the makeup of the lineup and matchups, which is very team to team. I mean, there's 1 hole and 3 hole, which is like very fluid, and you can actually like the power hitter second because they have more bats in the game. That's because of all the factors. I mean, it all depends because designing hitters are just really that player, that offensive value that the depth chart can why the hell reasons cannot play on defense. Like, for example, You have to go through for the Philadelphia, and they have some great designer haters that it doesn't have at a particular time. But if Hardy doesn't get injured, they got to rotate it with Schwarber, Harper, and Castellanos. I mean, for another example, they just like the Oakland, which is Rutschman, on the days up. I don't want to say like it's still very offensive, but I don't think it's gonna be like getting hit like 40 homers in a year. This means like more Tulsi. But if it comes to the behind for that play, to do like a Star Wars or Mateo. But baseball isn't what sits fits at all, but all it means. But I think that position perhaps is the best example for each team that happened for the National and American League.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's interesting because the American League, like is I what did they say? There was this new thing that came out this year was that does is the National League behind the American League in pitching because of how new the designated hitter is.
I mean, they have
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because a permanent should be like the hitter that doesn't have like a fielding position, and they fits like the needs for the offensive lineup. I mean, if you need like a leadoff hitter, have it like a design hitter that gets on base and can sweep back. I mean, have it like defensive power defensive, get a power bat. They need someone that can move like runner, give it that hit average because it basically this. If you're a power guy, you don't really to be like very fast. If you don't have it a bit fast, you're more very likely to be like several stations, not a good fielder. But there's a lot of designer hitters to be like a power hitters. Still have good bats, but there's no speed at all. Because look at this, because in every position in the baseball, they have ability, speed, and those power hitters, they doesn't have like the speed right now because it just really like really fast right now. It's because they just have another difference. Because if they had designer hitter to be like better because they have 100% in power, but they has no speed at all. Because how they had to go for to figure it out? Because in some point with the baseball positions, they just had power hitter because they had 100% power, 0% speed, but also they just had the pitcher situation because they had 100%. They had to go for ace, had to go for like the slider, a two ball because they have the 100% occupy for that position that it goes to need to ability to consider how to go because right now they are the eagle eye. They need to go to that because right now but it comes with a power hitter and a pitcher, all but because right now I have a 100% to keep an eye on them.
Right. But I think that actually, be honest, I always thought pitching was better in the National League than in the American League.
Yeah.
No, I always felt like pitching was better in the American League, and that's why a lot of National League pitchers, a lot of National League batters, when they would make a transition over to American League, would struggle. I remember even for the Mariners, remember Cirillo when, he came over and just tanked. And he was, in the National League, he was, top notch, and everybody was all excited. We had, I think anytime, I make my judgment mainly because every time a Mariner brings a National League hitter who's supposed to be power, they come over here and they just tank. And I just feel like the pitching has always been better in the American League.
It's also why you'll see an American League pitcher go to the NL and win a Cy Young immediately.
Sure. Are we talking about R.A. Dickey?
No, they generally end up going and having, a couple of years that are nice. Like if they were soon as they switch over, they don't all win in a Cy Young, obviously, but yeah, I mean, you do see them have a bump in their career when they first move.
Well, look at R.A. Dickey, right? Left the Mariners, went to the Mets. Didn't he win the Mets his first year with the Mets? Didn't he win the Cy Young the next year?
Yeah. Well, and
that's because he was happy about the money.
Well, usually players get paid then they don't perform. That's what's interesting, right?
Some people do. Some people perform, but
what a difference. The rules end up being the same. If you're gonna compare the American League versus the national team, there's an about for the addition that every team playing every team. There's much enough of these that are significant at the divisions. And I want to clarify like the design creator and place everyone because it seems like those separators or maybe like divisions are very significant. Now they're gone. Now it seems like it just artificially narrowed things that are down for the playoffs, maintain the traditional rivalries. I know personally because right now I would say to get excited to see like the pitcher actually get hits or even blocks because it just brought like strategy into the game and make like very interesting. But the new rules it just add more power to the lineup and allows very more chances to hit and home runs. I mean, he always loved it back because right now they had a different, but it doesn't seem like the between the comparison between the National League and the American League. But the occasional clutch hit for a veteran is very fun. But I think the overrated it comes with the all universal design hater because right now it gave me like the lower leads that I really adopted it kind of years before because the difference between two leagues were one of those things that once in the Major League Baseball unique, the game today can still competitive, but it's still missing that a much better bountiful.
Well, what would be your take? I'm gonna throw out. Pags made a controversial comment yesterday on the show that I was watching, and I thought was funny. That Acuna isn't gonna what in about 3 years Acuna will be done. Like he's not as. I believe you were trying to say like in about 3 years or so, Acuna's not going to be putting up the numbers, and that contract is not going to be worth it.
I think.
Did I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Or we were talking about how smaller people break down easier.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and you were like, in like about 3 years, Acuna's not going to be what he is now. Like Acuna's not going to have this grand 10-year amazing career.
That's not, I don't know that I said it like that, or at least I didn't mean it like that. I think that he's not going to have that body shape that he has. He's going to wind up putting more mass on. Like that's what happens. These small guys, you either put on mass or like, listen, when you are skinny, you start to break down fast. It's what happens. It's just, so.
Okay, well then I misunderstood your comment because I was like, "Ooh,
yeah, no.
I thought Acuna was going to be like."
I'll give full respect. Acuna is a great player. You know what I mean? So there's going to be. I don't disrespect players like that. You know what I mean? Like same thing with Soto. You know what I mean? When Soto was playing for the Padres and they wound up playing us in the NLCS, like everybody's cursing at him, but I, being the guy that I am, was able to get him to the meat of the matter and get under his skin a little bit when I yelled, "Hey, I think that I guess your mom's not cooking any spaghetti and meatballs for this team, huh?" See now, because that was a staple of the Washington Nationals. His mother was cooking spaghetti and meatballs for the team during the playoff run. So, and I know I caught him because first off, like I said, when you hear something like that, all of a sudden you're like, that guy actually knows a little bit about what he's talking about. Yeah. Because I had to do the research on that. How else does somebody know that his mother was cooking spaghetti and meatballs for the team for the playoffs? So I got the whole, he didn't turn around, but it was the quick, trying to get it out of the corner of his eye who it was. Every once in a while, I'm able to do that. Every once in a while, like it's great when you can have that type of interaction with some players, and the player, you could tell the players are listening to you because of just the way that they act a few things. You know what I mean? So you could have fun with them sometimes. Hey, hey, left glove, right, right hand, left hand, right hand. Marilyn Monroe or Eva Longoria, and then they'll do stuff like that. Like you can kind of they'll play those games. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is fun because that's more interesting and fun. Like when you're playing games, like listen, these guys are human beings. That's why I'm never going to curse at any one of these players. I never want to say anything that's derogatory about their family or anything like that. Like I said, but when you talk about mom, and I even did it in a respectful way, you know what I mean? I'm like, I guess your mom's not cooking dinner for this team, huh? That caught him off guard. That was like,
Yeah,
Um,
he's standing there thinking, "Who is this jackhole?"
And how is it does he know that my mother cooked dinner
Yeah.
for the World Series? Like that's again, that's second level stuff. That's what I do to the goaltenders when I go to a hockey game. I just wish the Flyers didn't give up 42 goals in the last 8 games. It's like that's not a recipe to win.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they have went from a playoff position and really only needed to win 2 of their last 8 games to stay in that playoff position, and they didn't.
Mm.
And now they're out of the playoffs, looking in. And not that they're out, but if they lose to the Rangers today, you will see me go T-less tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So I only do the goatee, for the playoff push for hockey, and it's something I've always done. It's it's like I stopped shaving right around St. Patrick's Day, and until when the Flyers are knocked out of the playoffs, that's when it goes. But it'll stay like there. If they get to the Stanley Cup, you'd see it down to about here. You know what I mean? It comes down a good bit. My hair grows like weeds, but it looks like that I'm not going to have to worry about that this year.
Well, I'm in your boat. Kraken isn't there. I'm going to the game tonight, and it's like, But
they're already eliminated, right? They are eliminated.
Yeah, it means all the pressure's off. They are actually probably going to win a couple games.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping I get a win tonight. I don't know. My friend got some tickets for a suite, so really I'm just going to experience what it's like to sit in one of their suites. But it's like free food and booze and lame duck hockey.
Hey, awesome. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, hockey is still great. I still love hockey. It angered me watching the Flyers game the other night. Oh my God, it was so. What Montreal is got a couple of good players on their team. You know what I mean? But there is no reason for anything for the Flyers to give up 9 goals to a team that's got, I think, a total of like 55 points. I'm gonna even look it up real fast. It's just it angered me so bad. It's like I'm like, are you kidding me? Like this is what I'm dealing with here. Like I love hockey. There is nothing better than playoff hockey. And I don't need the Flyers to win in the playoffs. I just wanted them to be in the playoffs. But yeah, it was poor. Yeah, the Canadians have a total of 72 points. Not that the Flyers are any better. They're at 83 points. But, literally, they should have won that game. They should have beaten Columbus, which was a total of 64 points. I mean, it's like they have been stinking. The Flyers have just straight out stunk it up the last 8 games. The last 8 games. We beat Boston and then lose 8 straight.
Sounds like the Mariners.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The transition is moving over to your hockey team.
So right now it's like everybody above them has got 4 games left where we only have 3 games left, and they all need to lose and we need to win all 3, and maybe by some stretch of imagination we could possibly make it, but I'm not holding my breath. That's why when the Flyers lose tonight to the Rangers,
goatee's coming off.
goatee comes off.
That's okay. It went out in the 90s anyway, so you might as well.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, it makes me look meaner. At least that's what they say. I look mean. So, but
I gotta tell you for this one. I mean, hockey is being like a very interesting sport, and there's a lot of teams with a great defense and offense. Even I'm not talking about for like hockey because I didn't know about it, but I think because for the playoffs, and of course it makes like very interesting because insignificant about for those teams they play with much aggression, but I think that one of those teams that are gonna win for the Stanley Cup. I mean, it means like very, very significant because right now it became like one of the most interesting sports that I just that I just saw right now, because it just seemed like because they play with a lot of passion, a lot of aggression, and a lot of dignity right now. Because it seems that because right now they're still playing hockey, they say, oh, there's one fan that say, who's hockey? And I never play with hockey, but you had to feel it about it, because if you seen like at one of those Stanley Cup layups and all these stuff right now, I mean, you kind of had to endure right now, because in those teams, because right now it seems like because those teams had a lot of better surprise, because they had a better defense, better offense, and of course they had the better aggression right now, because it seems that they had to go for it.
Yeah. Whoever wins more fights wins the
Yeah,
game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's why. I mean, let's face it. The Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win in sports because you have to win. Literally 12 games. I'm sorry, 16 games. After your regular season, you have to win 16 games to win the cup. Every team from 1 to 8. So it doesn't matter how great of a season you have. There's been too many times where the best team in the league gets cut in the first round. Boston. Yeah, last year where Boston broke records of wins and points, and they had the President's Cup, and usually the team that has the President's Cup gets knocked out in the first round because they have the hardest time being able to find the switch to turn it on to playoff hockey. And it's not simple to do. But I will say that hockey is so much better when Philadelphia is in it. And the fact that they quit, and that's the only thing I could say is that they quit. They literally quit on this team, on this coach. And I can't stand it. I cannot stand the fact that that occurred.
So does that mean new coach next year?
I'm not sure. If I was John Tortorella, I don't know that I'd want to come back. But I can't
So
say
not a
for
firing, but maybe a quitting kind of thing.
yeah, or moving him up into the.
You quit on me, I'm quitting on you. Is that what we're doing?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I really believe so. It sounds funny, but it's a real statement here. He has not. He has been bad. Like it's been bad. Like you don't have 8-game losing streaks at the end of the season. And when you have an 8-game losing streak like that at the end of the season, it tells me a couple of things. It tells me, one, all right, you're killing them too much. All of a sudden, these guys got tired. These guys is mostly young teams, so them getting tired, I'm not a real big fan of.
Sure.
You did something that put everybody on notice at a time when you shouldn't have. And he did something like that where he decided to healthy scratch your captain, the captain of this team. So listen, if you're going to healthy scratch the captain of this team, and I'm okay with doing that if you think it's going to send the right message. The problem is that he did it because he didn't want there to be a captain on this team. He wanted it to go the whole season without there being a captain. And the brass above him went the other way and said, nope, we need a captain on this team. It's going to be Sean Couturier. And to kind of go against that, Tortorella says, okay, and then he needs to play a certain way. And when he's not going to play that way, I'm going to bench him. And he benched him. And that's the problem. That's what occurred. So I think that the moment that you bench the captain of the team for a couple of games as a healthy scratch, you send the right message that this guy's not a captain. And so you have all of the people above, because you don't fire a coach this late in the season. You got to deal with what you got at this point, because you're not going to do that type of shakeup. That type of shakeup will make things really cringy. You know what I mean? It just makes it really hard locker room to be in. So you're stuck now with him to the end of the season. And now it's like you feel like I feel like this team's quit on him. So how do you come back from that? How do you make up for that? You try to play kissy kissy makeup on the off season, trying to make everybody feel good again? Or do you walk away and be like, yeah, this is maybe not the right team for me to get involved with?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if it's a fit issue and you know it, I'd walk away, try to get a job somewhere else. But will he? That's the thing. Based on this situation, if he was to walk away,
Yeah,
would
I
he
don't.
be able to find another job
yeah,
Well,
easily after what
finding another
happened?
job. Listen, hockey coaches. There's nothing more permanent that once you become a hockey coach, you're always a hockey coach. Can always come back to the NHL. It's one
I
of the
mean,
weirdest things in the world. They recycle coaches over and over and over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, the coaching pool has the same names in it that they've had for a long time. You guys know that firsthand up with your coach in Seattle. You know,
Hmm.
he was a Flyers guy who stunk for the Flyers for seasons, stunk. And Hextall wouldn't get rid of him. Hextall and Hackstall. And ultimately, Hextall got fired because of it. Because listen, if you're going to be a douchebag, you better be winning. And when we tell you that it's time to let the coach go and you're saying, no, I don't want to let the coach go, guess what? You, all right, you're fired and then you're fired because
Yeah.
he didn't want to fire you. So I'm firing you now and you have to go too because you are the dumbass that needs to die on this sword.
Hmm.
You know, you don't die on this sword. Like it was not a sword that you died on with him. And I am firmly believe that the Flyers are never going to win a Stanley Cup as long as there's Paul Holmgren part of this organization.
yeah, but the only point is because right now they just had a coach a team. Because Hart has been like a pretty strong year, but the roster, the Philadelphia Flyers roster is just like very much like a mixed bag with solid depth, with no real star power. Most of the scoring is coming off of the wings, but also they need to see like they really need strong centers to win it to the playoffs. Because if they're gonna make it very comfortable for the make of the playoffs, they don't want to expect it to win about it. Because more than the one that the most of them wants to get in, even a hard working and disciplined team like Philly can't be exposed to the players like a superstar, but hopefully at some point they can get a star from the draft. I'm just having a look at a fun watching this supposed that good team right now because it's supposed to be like helpful if they kind of want to the same page what the cup contender means. I mean, take it for an example. Edmonton has to fight for the Final Four team many times. So where it comes because currently it didn't look like a Final Four team. But the outside of the conversation happens. I mean, I'm trying to believe because it's certainly because they're gonna win because it never they're gonna disappoint right now because if they want to do like a strong defense and strong offense, they could make it. But also great leaders, they make like a great mentality and of course great coaching because that's what the leaders make and do about it. Because even though that I'm the captain right now, because even though that I had to go, because they need like a strong contender, and also they had the mentality to win this.
No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I hear
mentality is
you.
a big part.
Um,
Absolutely.
and culture's big in hockey, probably more than in most sports.
Yeah.
You have to have the right culture in the locker room in general. Teams that drink together win together, and that's not more true than in hockey.
Hmm.
Especially because that's what these guys are. These guys are drinkers. These guys are yeah, hockey players are a little bit of a different breed in the rest of the sports. It's just what it is. They do not have this exact same mentality as all the other sports teams.
We
And
don't watch Shorzy.
um, that being said, it doesn't make it any easier. It's just right now, what I'm saying is that the Flyers are in a mess, and I don't know who's going to be their coach moving forward. And truth of the matter is that I don't think it matters as long as Paul Holmgren is still a part of this organization until he finally passes away. Unfortunately, I think that's what it's going to be. We're not going to win a Stanley Cup because. As far as I know, he is the reason why. He's the one that put us in this mess. I'm sure he's still kind of talking to them across the board about different things. I'm sure it probably came from that high that they wanted to have a captain on here, and that's what caused this stink to occur in the first place because I'd be willing to bet that it came from Holmgren. He's like, listen, we need a captain on this team. Let's make Couturier the captain. After the coach had already said he wanted to go all season without a captain. So you undermined your coach, and the coach decided to then undermine your captain, and now you're playing games with your franchise.
Yeah.
Is that view generally is your view in a sense generally accepted by the fans? Is that what a lot of fans believe too? The same thing about Paul, or is that
I
just
don't
kind of
know.
your thought process?
I don't know. I don't talk. The people I do talk hockey with, I are hockey people, and they have differences of opinions. When they hear me start to rant about Paul Holmgren, there is a 50-50 mix on that. So if you are my age and older, maybe a little younger than me and older, we'll say 48 and older, there's a thought process that says Paul Holmgren is what like Bobby Clark. Everybody remembers Bobby Clark. Well, Paul Holmgren is nothing like Bobby Clark. Bobby Clark was a winner everywhere he went. In fact, Paul Holmgren is so much of a difference is that Paul Holmgren, he never won in juniors. He never won in the WHA. He never won in the NHL. He never won as an assistant coach. He never won as a head coach. He never won as an assistant GM. He never won as a GM. He never won as a vice president. He hasn't won as the president, and he hasn't won as the chairman. He hasn't won as a guy who then just talks about it. And
so you're saying he's consistent.
He just sounds like the biggest loser.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's gotten there a couple of times. He's gotten there a couple of times, but he is the reason why this franchise went to mush, and it's hey, listen, I bled orange and black before I ever bled green, before I ever bled red and white pinstripe. You know what I mean? The Flyers were the team that taught me how to be a fan. So I have a very unique bond with them that I don't care if they suck. I'm still going to root for them. Yeah, they could be the worst team in the league. They could have 38 points throughout an entire season, and I'm still going to go there, wake up Philadelphia, and let me hear you say the orange and the black, because that's the way I am. But I have been very specific. Paul Holmgren is the reason why this team has stunk, and until he leaves this organization, they're not going anywhere. End of story. They could put whoever they want in the president's spot. They could put whoever they want in the GM spot, and I like both Jonesy and Briere. I think that those guys have right ideas. But as long as Paul Holmgren is part of this organization, all those right ideas, like I said, I don't know if it came from him, if it might have came from Jonesy. But I tell you, it seems to me like it came from up high. It came from Paul Holmgren himself saying, hey, we need to have a captain on this team. Let's put Couturier as the captain. And in the process of doing that, you named him the captain. The coach decides after 3 weeks of being named the captain, oh, you know what? We're going to healthy scratch you. What? Yeah. Like, it's like everybody should be on the same page. Everybody should be on the same page. And what you saw last night is the caveat of all that. And now we ain't got no leadership. We ain't got no team really because this team quit. This team just straight out quit on the coach and on the organization. Last night was an embarrassment. 6-0. 6-0 in the second period to the Canadians, where they look like they're hosting a clinic on how it is to win a hockey game.
Oh man.
I mean, it pissed me off. I mean, it's like, and you just watched another one, and you watch another one, and you watch another one, and you watch another, and then the new goalie comes in, you watched him get scored on. Like it was like 5 goals. It was like 5 goals in 6 minutes. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then, let's come out and play in the third period. 9-3 is what happens. 9-3. That you left the one goalie in there who's been stinking up the joint for the last 3 or 4 games that he's played. Like all of a sudden he forgot how to play goalie, that he just keeps letting the puck in the net. That's just what's going on. It's just like oops, 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 oops. You know what
Well,
I
hey, at
mean?
least,
It's like
yeah,
it's bad. It's just bad, and you could tell that this team just has no interest. No interest.
yeah. At least you got some pity goals last night, right?
I don't know. I stopped watching after the 6.
Oh.
So
You're like, and Philly guys out.
That was that was the first year of the Kraken, right? Like they could play good for 2 periods. And it wasn't always the same 2 periods, but you would only play good for 2 periods. And then whatever third period they decided they didn't want to show up,
They did. Yep.
they didn't. And that's actually why I brought in the the image I made for our first season. This was our Kraken the first year.
That's awesome.
Funny. That is funny.
It is. It is.
So yeah, that I made that I made that during the first season because it was just like you would watch 2 good periods, and then like they went home. They're just like, you know what? It's been cool. this hockey thing's a lot of work. We're gonna go home now. Like it was funny, and so I mean, fortunately they got away from that. This season they've just been so wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a good story about the Kraken too. So the second game they ever play is against Philly, and Philadelphia that season says, "Okay, we're going to bring out this drum, and we're going to have special people hit the drum." Game 2 comes. The person that they have to go hit the drum is unavailable, can't make it. Last minute cancellation. So they asked me to come in and do it.
Nice.
So, and I got to bang the drum for the first ever meeting against the Flyers versus the Kraken, and we beat you guys 7-2.
Yeah, that tracks.
I know.
It was the
Got
second
surprised.
game of your franchise.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
that's why I say that tracks because they really did not play. Just
I think you guys won the first game.
did we?
I think your first ever game.
No,
you guys
we did not.
win.
We did not.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we didn't win the first game. We ended up starting the season. It was like 0 for 3, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, because there was a lot of. I remember there being a lot of commentators that are like, "Oh, they're a completely defeated team." It's like, all right, get out of here with that. Like,
they just started, Come on.
Exactly. They've never won a game. It's like, yeah, just shut up.
Yeah, they're never going to win ever in their lives. It's going to
Exactly.
be the only franchise to go 0-82.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because that's exactly how they were trying to make it sound after the first couple of games. Like, all right, calm down, guys. So, I mean, that's what was great about them having such a turnaround for last season, right? You go from the 4th worst team in the league to, making some noise in the playoffs. So, like, that was cool to watch. This season, again, it was just it's so inconsistent. That's actually what's frustrating about it because they have the talent to do it. It just hasn't always ended up on the ice.
Well, the problem was, and let's face it, the worst thing that could have happened to the Kraken was Vegas having such a good team as they did.
Yeah.
That was,
they kind of set that precedent, and everybody expected, well, if Vegas can do it, the Kraken can do it.
No. In fact, it went the opposite way. So what happened is that nobody was prepared for the draft when the Kraken, or not when Vegas did it.
Yeah.
So Vegas got a tremendous amount of low-end tier 1 and high-end tier 2 players that could not be protected because it was the first time they were doing this. They're not sure how to protect them.
Yep.
So they didn't protect them, and they lost those players. And they all went. And so, yes, you had a virtual all-star team. of players in Vegas. So now you have, hey, the Kraken are about to do the same thing. Well, guess what? I learned from this. Now we're not going to have these guys come up pro. They're going to stay in the AHL so that I can protect them. And I want to have these guys over here all protected. So, and I'm going to bring on a whole bunch of dead weight onto my team at the very end of the season, especially if we don't make it, because those are the guys that I'm going to bring, allow to be picked from us.
Yeah, I mean, you knew the first year was going to be rough because of how much they changed the way the draft was going to work.
Right. Well, they didn't change it. They just, everybody was prepared better.
They adjusted to it.
No, I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. Is it
makes sense? Yeah.
Not necessarily the rules of it changing, but the change of how people approached it.
Yeah, you hurt me once, shame on you. You hurt me twice, shame on me. That's exactly what this was. If a team got hurt twice in a row, that was their fault.
No,
that's how this became. And that the Kraken, if the Kraken was first, not that I feel that the Kraken's ownership knew what to do. The one thing about Vegas ownership is that they brought in really intelligent hockey guys.
Yeah.
They said, let's go over the entire league. Let's put everybody in our pool. And when they go ahead and go into this draft, the ones that are at the top of our lists are going to be the ones we're taking. End of story. And guys that could win, which is why you had Fleury on that team. I mean, Pittsburgh let him up. It was like, and I loved Marc-Andre Fleury because he always pooped the bed against the Flyers. So, but that's that. We talked a lot of hockey today. Wow, it's more hockey than I expected to. But I did need to do my rant. I had that rant bubbling up inside of me. It was terrible to have that. Like, that's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to ask you, Peg, in preparation for your visit out here for the game, does your Phillies bullpen, do they know you without your makeup on? Like if you showed up and they could see you, would they know, like, oh, that's a Philly sports guy? You came all the way out to Seattle? Because I went, we're going to go down to the bullpen down there. You're going to be like 2 feet from your players unobstructed. You can like reach over, shake hands and all. And I was thinking for yourself, like, do you think like if you popped in there and you were like, I'm a Philly sports guy, they would look at you and know you without your makeup on? Because you might be able to actually get really close to some of these folks.
Why wouldn't I wear my makeup anyways?
Yeah,
you are going to go. You are going to come in as Philly sports guy to the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you talking about? You think I'm going to go all the way out there and decide to go plain face?
Oh man,
you're my face. Everybody wants to see me as the Philly sports guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm excited to see how Mariner fans. You're going to get a lot of like quiet, like.
No, actually, Seattle people love me. The Seattle fan base loves me. So it's because I'm not the guy who's going to badmouth your team.
Yeah.
I keep it all positive. My team's going to beat your team. That's it. I don't say now, not because your team stinks, just because my team is better. And when you do it in that regard, you can't help but like that process. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. And they probably wouldn't recognize me without the face paint. I know the owner of the Phillies didn't recognize me.
Oh, okay.
And, I introduced myself. I'm like, John, how you doing? I'm Jamie Paye, and you don't recognize me without my face paint on. And he's like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
He literally, that was the reaction. Oh shit. But
awesome.
That's awesome.
How about that? See, this is where Mom comes in with some big stuff right there.
Oh.
Catcher's mask. That is a great trivia question.
1877. It's been a minute.
Yeah, that is a great trivia question. Perfect. I wonder why. I must have been the guy who got smacked in the face from a foul ball.
right? Straight off the bat into the face.
That or somebody was sitting there going, I got these 80-mile-an-hour balls coming at my head. I should probably protect it somewhere at some point.
No, someone got clocked to make that happen. Guys don't preemptively do things. Come on.
We're men, and we are strong. And
that's right. And until you're not, and then you're like, oh, that kind of sucked. Maybe I'm gonna do a thing.
So
yeah, I was like, who's the first catcher with brain damage?
I don't know. Ask the guy in 1876. But anyways, we are up at the top of the hour. I'd like to thank the captain for stopping in, Robert for coming in, and I appreciate it. Made the second hour go a lot faster with you guys here, able to talk about stuff and what have you. Look, like I said, sometimes it's hard to talk about sports, especially when you're talking to the same guy over and over again.
Yeah, right.
But, we didn't even get into the Ohani getting off scot-free thing yet.
Not yet.
Cleared.
Not yet. Let's. I was going to bring that up tomorrow once I got more of the story.
Okay, because I was reading something about the FBI. The Dodgers are like, they're going to clear him. They're going to clear him. But
no, they ain't clearing nothing yet. Nothing's clear yet. But
okay,
yeah, definitely. What's his face is making a plea deal.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm hearing.
They are literally. Hey, listen. You're going to be the fall guy. You're going to take a hit. You are going to have your name run through the mud here in the United States. None of it'll get over to Japan, and you'll be fine. That's what's going to occur.
Probably.
So, yeah, but he's going to be the one that takes all the fall. They're coming up with, he was routing, Ohtani's bank account. He had all of this information for Ohtani, and he was routing different things. So he may have stolen more than the $4.5 million.
Yeah.
No way.
This sounds like so much more bullshit. The further they go with it.
Right. Hey, listen. Let's have a carnival. Let's have a whole carnival with balloons and everything. And at that point, we will be able to have this whole thing going on over here and nothing to see over here.
That's right.
That's what that is. So. But anyways, thanks guys for coming on today. And tomorrow we will be on Friday's show. So who knows? Jay may show up, he may not. I know that
what's the over under on that?
I have I'm saying not showing up is probably a minus 6,000.
Yeah, right. I feel like that's a safe bet.
Yeah, so Ohtani, definitely call in and say, if you want to bet the other way, I might have you pay us, and we'll make it happen the other way. So
I like it. Well, we got StatGuy here in Seattle too, I think, right? So
yeah, StatGuy. Yeah, StatGuy's a little under the weather or had something to happen. We're not sure yet, but hopefully, everything is going good with him. Again, guys, thank you for hanging with us today, and we will see you tomorrow at the same time. Talk to you later, guys.
All right. Have a